I am Noel Didla. I teach freshman comp. The title of my presentation is Democratic Class Making. How am I creating democratic learning spaces that realize the mission and the vision of the urban HBCU I work for? This is how I apply the core values of JSU. I'm accountable for making a difference in student transformation through impacting critical thinking, analytic reasoning, and communication skills that motivate my students to become community change agents. How does CyberLearning catalyze this shift? This is the story of how democratic classmaking works for my students and I. My classes comprise mostly of young Americans of color with a smattering of international and non-traditional American students. I identified that students engage better in the learning process when issues that are core to their being, such as identities and realities like mass incarceration and music as culture, are utilized as topics to effectively learn styles of essay writing. I also realized students are not as resistant to the classroom experience if contemporary writing, various forms of art, media, and digital platforms, and grassroots involvement are creatively incorporated into the delivery. I came across an essay titled, "How to Slowly Kill Yourself and Others in America, a Remembrance," that informed about race relations in the Deep South, coming of age in Mississippi and America that most of my kids deal with and identify with on a day-to-day basis. The iPad initiative helps me to harass my students via email all the time. When I find a good read, I email it to them, thanks to Gradebook Pro app that I have downloaded. My kids are at times resistant to homework assignments that involve reading. But I found out they love in-class reading and they love discussing the content with their classmates. We read the essay in class. We invited Kisei to campus and hosted a two-part discussion titled An Honest Conversation on Race, Art, and Identity with Kisei Lehman. The panelists consisted of artists, feminists, writers, cultural critics, academicians, and activists. A rich discussion took place. Simultaneously, we hosted a Twitter chat in partnership with Institute for Democratic Education in America and enabled a multi-layered, community-based collaborative learning opportunity that my kids could draw from. We screened films like Crisis in the Congo and Boudreaux's depicting the state of human affairs in Democratic Republic of Congo and occupied Palestine during International Week Film Festival. We hosted Skype and phone conversations with the filmmakers. The president of Jackson State University International Student Association is from Congo, and he led the discussion. I noticed when a region is mentioned, and if my kids are not familiar with it, they use their iPads and Google the information. I have English as second language students auditing my comp classes, and that has actually generated an organic multicultural narrative about human rights, justice, equality, etc. And I believe it has regenerated empathy and a critical understanding of their fellow classmates. To my delight, my American students volunteered to become cultural and language immersion buddies to my ESL students. After having conversations on Palestine, Nicaragua, China, Ethiopia, and Mexico, majority of my students expressed the desire to share their culture and region-specific definitions of what America means to them through PowerPoint and oral presentations. This is in the last week of school, actually, so I'm super thrilled about it. We read Marlon Peterson's Cage Bird, and in conjunction, discussed Cradle to Prison Pipeline. And I'm not an expert in the subject. I invited local organizers and activists to use art, theatrical expressions, and poetry to assist my students in learning about the new Jim Crow. Some of them friended Marlon on Facebook, started following him on Twitter, and are learning through social media exchanges. For my students and I, democratic class-making has the potential to create learning spaces where student voices matter. Their creativity is valued, their engagement is enriched, their innovative thoughts are applauded, and their time in the classroom is made worthy. As a result of engaging my students with organizers, activists, the creative community, and international students, few of my students since then have joined local book clubs, became members of Mississippi Student Justice Alliance. They attend Hot Topic Tuesdays at COFO, take part in community action, besides learning to write meaningful essays. The transition into a college comp class and having an eccentric and goofy English teacher like me with an accent who is from a different cultural demographic, I'm sure is challenging for them. But class making comes true when I lay the foundations of inquiry with a lot of empathy and believe that critical learning is the ultimate justice I can assure in this democratic process. Thank you.